Good morning, everyone. If we can call the meeting to order. Welcome for all those who are participating. Those who are participating via Zoom, I'd ask you to turn your cameras on so that we can acknowledge your attendance as well as any interest that you have by way of questioning. We'll try and make sure that we don't miss you when you express an interest in making comment. So I would call the meeting to order, and I would ask Stefan if you can do an attendance, please.
Yes. Councillor Arnold. Councillor Bradley. Councillor Broad.
Present.
Thank you. Deputy Warden Hand. Present. Councillor Loosely. Present. Thank you. Councillor Napper.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Weber.
Present.
Thank you. Warden Marriott. Present. And Chair Stark. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'd ask if there are any disclosures of pecuniary interest, and if it is recognized now, but also through the course of the meeting, if it becomes apparent that you have a pecuniary interest, please declare it at such time. With that, we will move to the Infrastructure and Development Services Division. We have items of correspondence A, and I would ask for a motion to put those on the floor. Councillor Hand moves, seconded by Councillor Loosely. Any comment? Councillor Hand.
I just wanted to add congratulations on the award. Well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? All in favor? That's passed. Moving to information reports. In A, this has to do with the active transportation and county road network. Could I get a motion to put forward these to bring them to the floor? Councillor Napper, seconded by Warden Marriott. All in favor? Thank you. Now, with respect to this category, I'm going to ask Mr. Cole if he has any comments with respect to active transportation networks within the county and how they interact with lower tier municipalities and the concept moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this report was brought back at the request of council following a delegation that was heard at a previous council meeting. And maybe I'll get Matt DeLine, our manager of Public Works, just to speak to that question.
Okay, I think I'm on here now. Through the chair, could you repeat the question again?
Simply asking whether or not what the interaction between the county and the lower tier municipalities is, the cooperation between the two as it relates to active transportation networks within the county.
Yeah, to the committee through the chair. We have a varying approach with local municipalities. Some municipalities have active transportation plans. I know the city of Sarnia may be working on one now. So we do involve ourselves with those. Further to that, we do have the Lambton County Regional Trail Network that has a committee that has representation from the local municipalities as well as other interested parties, which we participate on. So when capital programs and projects come up, we're aware and get involved in that manner.
Thank you. And I was interested particularly in the cooperation with the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority and the network of trails that they have. I noticed when I looked at your active transportation and county network map attachment that there was several trails that extended beyond the county boundaries, which I presume included the jurisdiction of the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. Is that correct?
Yes, to the chair, there are several trails that are part of St. Clair as well as the Sauble Bayfield. So there are those neighboring conservation authorities as well that are located on this. So the upkeep of those and their involvement in this plan is something that they do notify us of, and they are part of that committee as well, that Lambton County Regional Trail Network.
Thank you. We voted on that, right? Yeah, okay. So we're going to move to section C, which is reports requiring a motion, and I'm going to ask Mr. Cole to comment as it relates to both County Road 80, and because this is a topic of conversation that's been dealt with some years ago apparently and is now coming back. So Mr. Cole, if you could comment on County Road 80, the Courtright line, council direction.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to the committee. So yeah, this direction was provided from council a while back, and we have been working with the local municipality, with St. Clair Township, to facilitate the request. The primary issue that with the request was there was two competing aspects of the improvements that were requested at that intersection. The one being a pedestrian crossover, and the second being an overhead flasher for the intersection, which would they would not be consistent messaging at that location, at that intersection. So we've needed to work with that local municipality in order to facilitate the priority in that case. And maybe I'll just ask Matt DeLine to come on again and provide an update for where that stands today.
Okay, thanks, Jason, and to the committee through the chair. So when this direction was provided from council, we worked with the local municipality as per that recommendation E to see and maybe facilitate their needs for a pedestrian crossover, knowing that the item of an overhead flasher would like Jason mentioned, competing interests and maybe and would be a conflict. In discussions with the local municipality, we have determined that the PXO is not something that they'll be proceeding with at this time. And maybe in the future they will be, but at that point, an overhead flasher at that location would still be a conflict with whatever they propose. So in lieu of that overhead flasher, and to stay consistent, or I guess to stay true to what the wishes of council were several years ago, the flashers on the signs are what we're proposing in lieu of that overhead flasher, as it would not be in conflict with the plans of the local municipality as it relates to pedestrian facility.
Thank you. I would turn to Mr. Tifo and ask, in the recommendation, it calls for a reconsideration, and I don't understand where the reconsideration is.
Yes, if I understand correctly, there was a certain direction in the past to proceed at that intersection sort of differently in terms of its organization and its construction. And now I think with the new sort of the different approach, that would be the reconsideration itself, shifting. And I'm not pretending that I know what the the former sort of re-engineering of the intersection was, but nonetheless, if there's a re-engineering of that intersection, then the reconsideration would be required.
And such, before we proceed with these recommendations, then the notice of, okay, so if there's a 2/3 majority that agree to that direction, we can proceed today. Otherwise, it has to go, okay. So I need a motion of reconsideration. Mr. Broad, Councillor Broad, seconded by Lonnie, or no, sorry, Councillor Weber, sorry. There's no discussion on that. I'll ask for a vote, and if we attain a 2/3 majority, we can deal with this today. So, all in favor? And that is unanimous. So as such, we can move forward, and will move forward with the recommendation, and I'd ask for a motion, Councillor Weber and Councillor Broad, as to the recommendation A, B, and C, well, actually B and C. All those in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Now, we'll move to B. This is, I think, more of a housekeeping issue than anything else. However, Mr. Cole, if you would like to comment, or if there is need for comment, the recommendation is that the warden and clerk be authorized to execute the Next Generation 911 Authority Agreement to enable the upgrading of 911 technology to the Next Generation 911 system. There's no financial implications to this, as I understand. Is that correct? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's correct. At this time, with this first part of the agreement, there are not any financial changes. This is just our relationship with Bell, who's the overseeing kind of agency for the Next Generation 911. There may be adjustments to our agreement with the OPP, who is our actual service provider in offering that service at a later date. But right now, this is just kind of the first step in this transition to the Next Generation 911, which will facilitate, better facilitate 911 services, especially in digital and cell formats across the province.
Thank you. So with that in mind, I would ask that we get a mover and a seconder for the Next Generation 911 agreement. Moved by Councillor Loosely, seconded by Warden Marriott. All in favor? And that is unanimous. And any other business for the Infrastructure and Development Services Division, Mr. Cole?
That's all I have for you today. Thank you very much. But I'm happy to take any other questions.
Any other questions for Mr. Cole? Seeing none, we will move to the Public Health Services Division. That brings us to Mr. Taylor. And information reports as indicated in A, B, and C. Could I get a motion to bring those forward, please?
I'll move to receive and file all three.
Councillor Weber, receive and file on all three. Seconder. Councillor Hand. Any questions? All in favor? And that's unanimous. Emergency medical services, apparently we have no agenda items. I don't know if anything has come in late. Mr. Taylor, is there anything that you need to deal with there?
No, Mr. Chair, there's no other public health business.
No other health business. We can move to Cultural Services Division, unless there are questions for Mr. Taylor on any other topics. Seeing none, we move to Cultural Services Division. Correspondence to receive and file. A letter from Jennifer Harrison, Board Chair, and Councillor Jonathan Scott, Board Vice Chair for Bradford West Gwillimbury Public Library Board. I need a motion to receive. Councillor Napper, seconded by Councillor Hand. Any questions? All in favor? And that's passed. Information reports dated June 15th regarding the Oil Museum of Canada. Motion to receive and file. Councillor Broad, seconded by Councillor Loosely. Any questions? All in favor? And that's passed. Reports requiring a motion. That is regarding early learning participation between Early Ontario Centres and Lambton County Library. The motion as suggested that Lambton County Council approve the addition of 0.51 full-time equivalent to its staffing plan to hire a part-time public service assistant for youth to support the partnership between the Children's Services Department and the Libraries Department, and B, that the Lambton County Council approve the ongoing partnership between the Libraries Department and the Children's Services Department to deliver early literacy programs and services to children age 0 to 6 in the community. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Hand, seconded by Councillor Weaver. Any questions? All in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Hand.
Sorry, it wasn't a question, it was a comment. So I have been attending early learning on some occasions with my grandkids, and it's a really well-received program. I noticed there's a lot of newcomers to the community that take advantage of the program. So I think this is a really good fit, a really good addition to the program.
Thank you for those comments. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Passed. The second report is dealing with museums, galleries, and archive collection management. And don't mind me, I'll get back to the right section here. So this is a various donations, both recommendations for acceptance and refusals. Of such, I'd ask for a mover and a seconder for both categories, please. Councillor Hand? Councillor Loosely?
I'm sorry, I didn't have my hand up.
No, I was volunteering you. Oh, sorry. Councillor Weber? Councillor Loosely, any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's passed. And the final topic requiring a motion is one, that the Lambton County Council approve the following library policy, advocacy policy, and community use of space policy. I'd ask for a mover. Warden Marriott, Deputy Warden Hand. Any questions or comments? Councillor Napper.
Yes, this is no big changes to this report. It's basically what we had before.
Mr. Meyer, is there any changes there that we should be aware of?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Napper. Just in terms of change, the addition of these new policies relate to, one, for the advocacy, we're looking to pursue eventually accreditation as a library system, and to have this, we require having this policy in place to ensure that we're advocating for the importance of the library within the community. So that is a new policy. So in terms of change, that would be a new policy before council. The community use of space, this change relates to the addition of new spaces within some of our library branches. That's what motivated this policy. Through the municipal modernization funding that we received and the partnership with social services, we've included some new private meeting spaces within our library branches that did not exist previously. So we felt it was important to set out the terms of use, the requirements for using those spaces. So that is also new and triggered by the new spaces that we've created within those branches. So that, I guess, is, hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is passed. And Mr. Meyer, with respect to any other business for your division.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one additional note. Council would have received an invitation to the grand reopening of our Petrolia Library in partnership with the town of Petrolia. So we're excited to welcome you back to a refurbished space. That event takes place next Wednesday, June 22nd from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. And we look forward to welcoming the community back.
Councillor Weber.
Just to comment, I wasn't able to attend on Sunday, but I understand that the Lambton Heritage Museum hosted the Hall of Fame inductees and had a short presentation there, and it was good to see the facilities used for recognizing these people in our community. So, kudos to that.
Thank you for that comment. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Meyer, for that. And with that, we'll move to in camera. And I'll ask for a motion to move in camera to receive a report regarding a proposed acquisition of property within the city of Sarnia and to seek instruction from council in regards thereto pursuant to the provisions of subsection 239, subsection 2, subsection C of the Municipal Act of 2001. Could I get a motion to that effect, please? Councillor Weber, seconded by Deputy Warden Bev Hand. And any questions or comments? All in favor? And we will now move into in camera. Thank you. Eagle. Mr. Tifo, do we have to report out now or is, no? Okay. So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Broad, seconded by Deputy Warden Hand. All in favor? Thank you very much. Appreciate your attendance. I should point out that Councillor Arnold would have been present today, but he is enjoying vacation. And in fact, he was in a situation where he was in an unstable internet situation and couldn't rely on it, so he asked me to pinch hit for him. And as such, I say thank you very much for your cooperation and have a great day.